And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
All right, we're blessed and highly favored here in Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Realty. We're going to be kicking off the show here with Duane Bishoff, CPA of Tampa Bay, in studio with us. We're going to talk about the BOI filings, beneficial ownership interest, also student loan debt, that is, forgiveness, and then how to maximize the 401k. So are you making those contributions? Are you kind of having that foresight with your business planning? We're going to talk with Duane about that on today's show. Immigration law later on in the program, big topic. So I got an immigration attorney coming in, going to talk with us about that. American Dream Law Office, as well as Fred Butte, Tampa Screens and Aluminum Contractor, expert contributor on today's show as well. And I want to invite you to our next gratitude party. As you know, we always have a third Thursday gratitude party day. We like sponsor. But yeah, it's Thursday of the month. We rotate it from Hillsborough to Pinellas County a lot of times, but you're invited, our audience. That's what makes our show a little bit different, is we're saying, hey, come on out and join us. Support the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show and all of our expert contributors. And we're going to be talking with our CPA expert contributor on the show here, Duane, in just a moment. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We always like to feature our listings on air. My wife, Lindsay, and I own a top 100 ranked real estate team at Keller Realty. And this property's at 8107 Sierra Manor Lane. This one's a beautiful property right here in Tampa. It's kind of that Oldsmar area, double branch in Tampa / Oldsmar. 4 bedrooms, 4 bath, 3-car garage, 2-story single family home, 3,600 plus square feet. You have over an acre of land. You have an updated kitchen, Wolf gas stove, 500-gallon propane tank. You got a 65-year warranty on this roof. It's a metal roof, 2023, with a 65-year transferable warranty, 130 feet of private water frontage, 6,000-pound boat lift in a private dock, direct access to Upper Tampa Bay. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, and live that Florida lifestyle to the fullest. You have a fireplace inside as well. Beautiful pool, beautiful spa. So many upgrades. Too many upgrades to list here. 8107 Sierra Manor Lane in Tampa. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. One of my favorite listings. 1905 Masters Way. Another beautiful property here. This one's in Plant City. Masters Way, Plant City. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage. 29 square foot single family home. You have 0.38 acre lot. So a good sized lot, almost half-acre lot. Split floor plan with no backyard neighbor. Gorgeous opportunity, great opportunity here. Owner is motivated. This is in Walden Lake, so you have walking trails, dog park, playground, sports complex, access to the lake for non-motorized vehicles. 1905 Masters Way, Plant City, another one of our beautiful property listings from the Platinum MVP team. And if you'd like to have your property featured live on air, if you're thinking about selling, we would love to talk to you as well. You can reach out to the show hotline, and you can also see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's right, 727-263-3707. Call or text the show hotline. We'll put you in touch with our 80 different categories, over 35, 40 different show partners, ranging from CPA, financial advisors, several types of attorneys, home service providers, self-defense experts, so many more categories that we cover here. 727-263-3707. Just call or text that show hotline. All right, Duane Bishoff back in studio with CPA of TampaBay.com. And yeah, man, how are things going out there?
Oh, going great. Busy.
Yeah, man, this is your busy time of year, isn't it?
It is. Starting to get cranked up.
cranking it up, coming back to work, and people are getting out of that holiday and kind of that hangover from the year, and like, okay, we got to go back to work. We got to get our taxes paid, and we got to get our filings in place.
That's correct. Yeah, we're doing some of 2023 along with 24 coming in the door.
Wow.
So it's really tricky. The hurricanes extended some of those 2023 deadlines. So
I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of people said, hey, let's push this on down the road.
Yeah, that's true.
And so what right now, this time of year, so BOI, let's start there. So the beneficial ownership interest in corporations and entities.
Correct.
What's going on there?
Yeah, so this thing's been originally, if you had an LLC or a small corporation, you formed before 1/1 of 24, you would have needed to file this by December 31st of 24. Then a Texas judge put a stay on it. Courts ruled against him. Another court ruled for him. It went on and on. The DOJ pushed it up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court last Friday, I believe, ruled that they put a stay on it so that you're supposed to file, but then there's another lawsuit there called Top Cop or something like that, and so it's still in limbo. We're fine. We're just. We do these, and so we reached out to our clients to see who wanted us to do it and who wanted to do it on their own. We didn't really care. We just want to make sure they know about it. And so we're just pushing to start doing them. And when it comes time to do it, we'll be able to push a button and get it done.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Well, that's good to know, because a lot of people are just going to be caught off guard by this. They're not even sure what a BOI is, and if they need to, if they qualify or have to
they
do
could.
That.
So if you haven't done it, you can go to finson.gov/BOI filing, and you'll get to the federal website. Be careful. It's really easy to get to some pay websites that a client said, I tried to do this, and they asked my credit card for $500. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, well, stop that.
You're on the wrong site.
You're on the wrong site. You will have to upload copy of a passport or a driver's license, as well. So they need that information.
Well, that's good to know, because there are some hefty fines if you are required and you end up not filing.
$400 a day, $500 a day, something like that. It's crazy.
Man, that just seems like it's so punitive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts in general? I mean, there's so many new things with this new administration, like thoughts about tariffs, renaming the Gulf of America, all these different things. But a lot of people do seem to agree, like, hey, let's simplify the tax code. What are your thoughts around that?
It's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to talk about, but it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you have to define income, because everybody makes income a different way.
Okay.
So some people are just W-2 employees, and theirs is real simple.
Right.
Here's their income. They may have some dividend incomes, interest income, sell a couple stocks. It's pretty easy.
Yep.
But someone who's a sole owner, who's a sole proprietor,
yep,
he's selling widgets. He has a cost of a widget. He's got expenses for widgets. Does he get to take his deductions? It's not on his total sales. So it's not as simple as everybody talks about.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. I just remember them talk about they're talking about doing a flat tax, and they said the flat tax, it tends to hurt the lower income people more, because they did like a sales tax proportionally more of their income.
I can see
so
that.
It's more, technically it's harder on them. Way back, there used to be, I don't know if you even remember this, there was a half a cent tax. Like, it was going to eliminate all taxes, half a cent every time money changes hands.
Huh.
So if you move your money from one account to another account, half a cent.
Huh.
If you buy something, half cent. Anytime you move money.
Okay.
And it would cut out all the state, federal, all that stuff. And it was seemed really simple. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's
but it just never got any legs.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting to think about that. What about the student loan debt? Because I know there was all this talk about Biden doing it, and then where do we end up with that? Because I don't even recall.
I think it's still. I think they went on with it and just did it, even though they weren't supposed to.
So he forgave.
Yeah, he forgave
X amount of debt.
Right. So these people will be getting probably a 1099-C for a cancellation of debt. So anybody who you've seen all the commercials on TV about if you owe more than $10,000 of credit card, we can help you. Well, they can't. A lot of these places can, and they can get your debt canceled. So, but what happens is now that can be income to you. It's still better to pay the tax than the whole debt, but
right.
There's two kind of exceptions. So if you have debt canceled while you're through a bankruptcy process, that's not taxable. And if you're insolvent when the bank cancels your debt, so if you can list that on that day, this is my assets.
Yep.
These are all my debts. If you're insolvent to the tune of what that cancellation is, it's technically not taxable then either.
Right.
Not a lot of people understand that or know that, but if you get a 1099, I think it's a 1099C.
Right.
And if you get one of those, you're not sure, you find a tax preparer who probably will help you through that.
Yeah, and so let's speak of that too, because this is the time of year when people will be going into, some of these people that run the commercials on TV. They have the national branding. They may have a strip center next to the grocery store, so people think, oh, I could just walk in there and do my taxes and take it to them. What's your thoughts about that and pros and cons? And then also, aren't there some scams too where people will get a debit card? I remember in years past, it was something to do with their returns, and then they get a debit card, and people were scamming that somehow.
Yeah, that was so one thing is it's called a refund anticipation loan.
Yes.
And they'd go in there and they say, oh, we'll do your return for free or for $20. And then you get in there, oh, you want your refund now? We'll give you, $3,000 now. Here's a card, but we're going to charge you 20% interest and these fees and everything else.
Right.
And it ends up they make a ton of money on that part, not really the tax return.
Right.
They've kind of cut back on some of the rules on that. But I mean, if you have a basic return, H&R Block can do it. If you can't do it, you can do it. I was just reading. You can go to the IRS website, irs.gov, and file your return online right there without any of the going through H&R Block or any of those people.
Yeah,
they've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years. If you have a basic return, you can do that. Those aren't the returns we're really trying to do.
Right.
So we're trying to do things that are more complex and and have more. But if you're just both two people married, you're single, you have a job, you may have a house, and you're trying to itemize, H&R Block will probably do a half decent job for you.
Yeah.
After you get past that, you're self-employed, you have a rental property, and those type of things, it starts getting more complex, and those guys go through about 5 days of training. And we go through much more.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you got a whole degree in it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you have that's the challenge and you've talked about scenarios. By the way, we're talking with Duane Bishoff here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Bishoff and Associates. I'm your host, Brandon BRimes, CPA of TampaBay.com. And Duane, because you've mentioned on the show, and we've heard these similar stories that sometimes people, if they say, oh, I'll just let my niece do that, or my daughter will take care of that, they're missing things. They
Absolutely.
don't know what they don't know. And you've seen some thousands of dollar mistakes.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Yes. Seen that.
And that hurts.
Personally, in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Let daughter do it. She can do a 1040 EZ. She couldn't do dad's return. It's much more complex.
Right.
She didn't have any idea of some of the things that could save money.
Right.
And he didn't know. He's just thinking she knows what she's doing. It's his daughter,
Yeah.
And the other one to be wary of, be aware of the people who won't sign your tax return. Be wary of the people you get a bigger refund than what you thought.
Yeah.
Some of these people, they create deductions and credits for you so you come back next year. And it's a scam. We see it all the time. You know, we hear the stories about it.
Yeah.
So if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So try to stay with, again, someone who's an EA, that's an enrolled agent, someone who's a CPA, or some of your bigger, your H&R Blocks, some of the bigger brands.
Yeah.
Try not to go to the guy that you're going to his house and whatever. I'm not saying some of those aren't okay, but those are where more of the troubles come from.
Yeah. You got to be careful about that and make sure you're getting all your deductions. And also, Duane, can do a review for you over the last 2 or 3 years. I think he can go back about 3 years, and he can look at previous returns. So if you have a scenario where you think, hey, I wonder if that is explaining me what I did. I made a mistake, and I may have left money on the table. Hey, Duane might be able to find some of that lost money on the table for you. So reach out to the show hotline, and also you can reach out through the consumerqb.com website. Just submit an email, and we'll put you in touch with Duane Bishoff, CPA of TampaBay.com. And we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break. More with Duane coming up. We have a great lineup for you today as well, plus our feel-good story of the day. 70 is really the new 60. Aging adults function better today than previous generations in both body and mind. Feel-good story of the day coming up. Plus a little bit of immigration law for you later on in the show, since that's such a hot topic right now. We got American Dream Law Office in studio with us coming up as well. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. Did you know that we buy houses cash? We will close quickly and give you a fair offer on your home or residential properties, even commercial properties, and we will give you a fair cash offer, close quickly, and be diligent when you're shopping these types of scenarios, because a lot of the wholesalers, the flippers out there, they will sign you up on an as-is contract, and they will shop that contract and try to find a buyer, but they may not find the buyer, and they won't close. So this is Brandon Rhymes, 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. Brandon Rhymes, we buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. That is my direct cell. You can call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio. Duane Bishoff and Associates. We're talking with CPA of TampaBay.com. Duane, we're going to talk about how to maximize the 401k. Also, general business advice to young entrepreneurs and business owners coming up here in just a moment. Now, hot listing here, 15577 Little Ranch Road. We've got two side-by-side parcels. We also have 15535 Little Ranch Road, Spring Hill, Florida. You got two 5-acre parcels side by side. You are looking at, there are structures on the property. We're looking mostly at land value here. 10 acres of land, Little Ranch Road, Spring Hill. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Close proximity to the Tampa International Airport, Suncoast Parkway as well. Check out the two side-by-side parcels at Little Ranch Road, vacant land, Spring Hill. A great opportunity to own real estate. 3327 Turks Cap. This one is another beautiful waterfront property. You have unobstructed views of the Gulf of Mexico, facing those west-facing Florida sunsets. No HOA or deed restrictions. Waterfront property, 3327 Turks Cap Drive, Hernando Beach, 0.17 acre, and a great opportunity. You're up there close to Weeki Wachee Springs State Park and more. And you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com. All right, quick shout out to our friend Lee over at Lee'sRoyalServices.com. He does a great job cleaning our real estate properties, residential, commercial properties. we want to talk into Lee's Royal Services. He's also got a handyman service there, home and office cleaning, residential, commercial. Lee's Royal Services.com on the interior of the home. And on the exterior, go ahead and talk to our friend Ramin over at HeightsSoftwash.com. He'll get y'all cleaned up on the exterior of your home or commercial property. HeightsSoftwash.com, HeightsSoftwash.com. Make sure you let him know the real estate quarterback sent ya. All right, we're talking with Duane Bishoff now. He's CPA of Tampa Bay, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show here in Tampa Bay. And Duane, this is the time of year to really accumulate that plan. Get that plan for first quarter, second quarter, third, all the way through the end of the year. And a lot of people are missing opportunities to maximize their 401k or other investment opportunities.
Yeah, correct. It's something we hear, this time of year. Someone comes back, well, what can we do? Well, the window's kind of closed on 24. There's not a lot you can do, depending on their income. They may be able to fund an IRA, maybe not. That's going to help them. But it's a time, one of the best things you can do, young, doesn't matter, as soon as you start working, is to fund an IRA. Fund a 401k.
Yeah.
Generally, there's going to be some kind of a match. So at least fund an amount to where you're maximizing the match that they're going to give you.
Yeah.
That's step one. Then step two, if you can, put more in there. I mean, it's going to grow tax-free. You could even do in a lot of the plans, you can even do part of it as a Roth as well. And so the Roth won't be taxed down the road either. It's not a deduction now, but still, if you put some of that money away, you're not going to notice it. It's easier to have it come out of your check.
Right.
So that's why we have federal withholding, because the government knows it's easier to come out of your check than them trying to collect it from you later.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same kind of thing. So just start with it, and every time you get a raise, put part of that raise into, bump it up. And if you can max out. There's actually a special rule for, I think it's this year, maybe this year, next year. There's a tiny window. If you're about 60 to 62, it's a really weird, I just thought of it, it's a really weird window where you can actually put even more away. So if you're in that area and you're a saver and you're maxing out your 401k, look into that, because you may be able to put more in this year.
It makes so much sense. And I can't understand why somebody would want to, hey, my company, if your company's going to match you up to a certain dollar, man, I would be going right to that top dollar and saying, thank you for the free money.
Right.
Match me all the way, baby.
All day.
Advice to young business owners. What's just general advice, thoughts about that? Here we are, because again, it's kind of that early part of the year. This is something they can implement going forward.
So if you read any of these business books, you find out all these people tried stuff and they didn't work out. You learn from it. And so that's one of the biggest things. Don't be afraid to put your toe in the water and try. But while you're doing that, track all your expenses.
There you go.
Even if you just, nowadays it's so easy. You could snap pictures of receipts on your phone.
Yep.
There's sites where it tracks all that stuff and then converts it into, deduction, converts it into list. Put it on an Excel spreadsheet. Create a bank account, have a separate bank account just for business expenses.
Yeah.
And then just track it. And once you feel like you're starting to have something, get with a tax professional who can walk you through what you need to do. Some people will say, look, you're probably going to need getting QuickBooks or Xero or some of these other softwares pretty soon. But other people were to say, look, a spreadsheet, it will work for you, and until we get further along.
Yeah.
So just try to track your expenses and go for it.
Yeah, because if not, you're going to be hurting later. You're going to get that call. I was on a real estate panel last week, and one of the gals sitting next to me said, "Yeah, here's something I didn't do," and it was exactly what you just said. And she said, all of a sudden, her CPA said, "Hey, by the way, you owe $50,000 to the IRS." She's like, "Where am I going to come up with that money?"
Right.
But yeah, those are mistakes that people make. So make sure you're tracking. And it is, again, there's software, there's apps, you can do it on your phone. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Duane Bishoff, CPA of TampaBay.com. Check him out online, CPA of TampaBay.com. And Duane, thanks so much for coming in, man.
All right.
Appreciate
Thanks for having me.
By the way, get that review done. You get that review, you get that look back for 36 months. Think about it. You might have some money on the table. Maybe somebody missed something in the past. Get that review from Duane Bishoff, CPA of Tampa Bay. All right, coming up, Fred Mute, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and then we're going to be talking with Ahmad from American Dream Law Office. We're going to talk about immigration law coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online at BrimeS1 at CQB Show, and we'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got Fred Mute coming up, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. He's our contractor extraordinaire. We're going to talk with him here, tampascreens.com. Also, later on in the fourth quarter here, we're going to be talking with Ahmad from American Dream Law Office. We're going to talk about immigration law because it's such an interesting place in our country now. We had open borders for so long, and you know what's going to happen with some of the deportations, and then also if somebody wants to do the legal process, what is the actual legal process? We're going to talk with him about that as well coming up here. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. 12133 Spartan Way. We like to feature our real estate listings live on air. This one is a second-story unit condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, 1,100 square feet in Hudson, Florida. 12133 Spartan Way, number 204, 1,100 square foot condo, low maintenance, resort style living, beautiful property here. It has updated granite countertops, new wood-like tile, fresh interior paint, new subway backsplash as well. Living room and a primary bedroom open to the screen porch as well. Low HOA fees. You got a community pool, heated pool, clubhouse, scheduled events, shuffleboard, barbecue areas, gazebo spaces, dog walk area, and more. Check out 12133 Spartan Way, number 204. 4229 Red Cliff Place. We got another affordable property here. This one's in Newport Richey. We're sticking with our Pasco County properties here. 4229 Red Cliff Place. You have an updated 111 two carport there as well. 624 square foot condo situated near downtown Newport Richey. Charming stained glass inserts. You have kitchen that has stainless steel appliances, quartz countertops, mosaic subway tile backsplash, lighter color on the interior of the property, community pool. Great opportunity right here in Newport Richey, Florida. 4229 Red Cliff Place. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Fred Mute, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Hello, Brandon. Hello, everybody.
Yes, sir. What's new in your world? How are things going? Tampa Screens and Aluminum, my friend.
We're doing good. There's like a financial feeling of relief in the year 2025. That's the feedback. Consumers much more ready and willing and able to spend. I'm sure you're seeing that in the housing market as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because we are, since we mentioned housing, I want to just go over the latest stats here. So Pasco County, for example, actually, let's look at Pinellas. Pinellas is a little more exciting. You have 4.7 months supply of inventory in Pinellas County. And if you compare that back to March of 22, you remember the high water mark when inventory was so low. So in March of 22, we had only 1,100 properties available for sale. Right now, we have 6,721 properties active. That is a difference of 5,600 active properties. In other words, today's buyer has 6 times more options than they had in March of 2022, and that's in Pinellas County, Fred.
For sure. And you know what I see down here, not to be comical, but people will continue to move around to move away from the traffic. I see that in South Tampa. I see that in the Riverview area. People, some of my clients, they purchase homes. They've been in the home a year and a half in the Riverview area, and now they're out of it. They want to get out of here. They want to go to Pasco because typically the traffic down here is so bad. I don't know that you'll ever escape the traffic, but I do see people making the move to try to lighten up on the traffic conditions. I'm sure you're getting such feedback as well in as far as being a broker.
Yeah, and they're moving to Pasco. I mean, let's look at the Pasco stats here. So when you look at Pasco, Pasco has a 27% absorption rate and 4,000 active listings. And if you compare that same number to March of 22, again, that's the high water mark after COVID, 665 properties. So that's 3,398, let's call it 3,400 more active listings. So again, 6 times more the active, so 6 times more the options for buyers in today's market than they had in March of 2022.
For sure. 60% of my sales leads right now are in Pasco County. And when Pasco becomes saturated, which may be in a couple of years, there's a lot more room to move further north. There's still a lot of vacant land up there where they will continue to develop. It's a beautiful area up there.
It really is. And let's talk about your product a little bit here, because you have these beautiful lanais, porch, patio, screen rooms, those bird cages, some people call it, pool cages. Talk a little bit about that product, because you've got the new panoramic view, and that's such a gorgeous addition to properties.
Yeah, the cages, bird cages, whether it's a pool cage or a bird cage without a pool, they really enhances the beauty of the home. Up until, I'm going to assume, I'm trying to think, about 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, you couldn't get the pano or open view. They didn't have the engineering released yet. But now you can get these big wide openings, and I like to differentiate between the pano view versus the rear open view, because pano view typically would mean all walls on the cage are opened up, whereas most people seem to choose the rear wall only, depending on the backdrop of the home. Backdrop of the property may drop off to a lake, a lagoon, it may drop off to a golf course or whatever. You really get a very good advantage of the view if you go with the open view. And I say the open view on the rear versus pano because I think it gives it a little bit more texture, a little more concept of you get sort of the best of both worlds. Whereas on the side walls, you're not trying to block the view on the side walls, but you're definitely trying to get a tremendous view on the back wall. A lot of times we'll go in with the open view on the back wall and screen to the floor on the side walls with no chair rails. That's been the majority of it. And boy, it's a nice look. I think you've seen a couple of ours, have you not?
Absolutely. Yeah, and we see your website, too, during the show. We pull it up when we're on the interview here. And what are you seeing with some of the counties and some of the municipalities? Are we backed up as far as permitting goes?
More so than we should be. Since the storm hit, Hillsborough County, for example, has been very cooperative. Basically, they've been rubber stamping the permits in and out the door in one day once the engineering is complete, providing that you don't change the footprint of the foundation. Now, I cannot make the same statement for the city of Tampa, and the city of Tampa, for whatever reason, is way backed up, and it just seems as though they incorporate more steps than they should. I've got cages that I signed up in October, and they're not released yet in the city of Tampa. I've got cages I signed up in October in Hillsborough County, and they're already installed. The people are enjoying them. So there's really no rhyme, no reason to what goes on in the city of Tampa. I'm not sure what it is. There's a lot of hype out there, a lot of talk about it, but I guess I don't have my finger on the pulse of what's going on down there.
You know what's interesting too is this whole 49% rule, 50% rule with FEMA. It's very confusing for a lot of people. And what we found in talking with Jason Avery Construction, another longtime friend of the show, you and Fred Mute, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, you guys have been on the show one of the longest. Captain Will Smith, of course, Jay Smith, longtime friends of the program. But when you start thinking about that 50% rule, it really throws a lot of people off, and they end up stuck in some properties. And what have you seen in regards to the 50% rule out there?
I see a lot of it. The permits will not be issued. Typically, if the elevation of the structure is way below below what it should be, and I believe the magic number is somewhere around 8 feet above sea level. Jason would know more about that number than I would, but I've seen them where if they're 8 foot or lower, they're not issuing permits because basically the home would need to be elevated so that satisfy FEMA's requirements. And that's the whole thing is all about FEMA. It's unfortunate that these homes are basically not repairable, but I do understand the concept. I went through this in New Jersey back in 2012 when Sandy went through, and I have a house up there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm 10.6 above sea level. If I was under 10, they would not have issued me permits for repair. So I do understand the concept. I do see a lot of very distressed situations down in the Apollo Beach area. They got hit pretty hard. A lot of the 40, 50-year-old homes, even 30-year-old homes, are built slab on grade, and they're nowhere near 8 foot above elevation, and they cannot get permits to rebuild. I mean, there's no point in calling me about a pool cage because they're not going to be able to pull a permit or do anything. Besides, the house is pretty well worn out and shot. It's wet. It's moldy, mildewy. So they turn into teardowns. Yes, it is unfortunate.
And if you just joined us, we're talking with Fred Mute, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, longtime friend of the show. He's our contractor expert contributor. And I'm going to do something out of order today. I'm going to do our feel-good story because I want to get your reaction to it, Fred.
Tell me something good.
All right, 70 really is the new 60. Aging adults function better today than previous generations in both body and mind. So here's a recent study published by Nature Aging found that age-related declines in older adults have slowed, with improvements in education, nutrition, sanitation, and medical care contributing to the better cognitive, physical, and sensory functions. Researchers from Robert N. Butler Columbia Aging Center discovered that older adults have higher levels of functioning than previous generations at the same age. For example, a 68-year-old born in the 50s has similar abilities to a 62-year-old born a decade earlier. While medical advancements like joint replacements, chronic condition treatments played a role, experts caution that factors like rising obesity rates could reverse these trends. So we put that in there as our feel-good story of the day, but it's kind of an interesting play out. You see that happening. It seems like, that aging is there, that better aging today.
Absolutely. We have more reasons today to stay healthy than we had 25, 30 years ago. And I do the best I can, and I try to eat right and exercise. And I find that you're eating right and exercising, your thinking level is that of a younger person. I've had people say to me, act your age. I say, forget it. It's not happening.
That's right. Yeah, no way, Jose. All right, so Fred Mute.
If you have a good state of mind and you're feeling good, you're gonna produce much better. You're gonna act as though you're a younger person.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Fred, how do you want people to connect? TampaScreens.com. Got the website there.
813-960-7064 is usually the best. TampaScreensandAluminum.com is very good. It's the best way. We take the majority of the calls on the telephone, believe it or not.
The phone is always the best. Whenever I see advertisements and it's just a website, it's like, why not put the phone out there? Say it again, 813-960.
7064.
7064. Reach out. Talk to Fred Mute, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Let them know you want a bird cage, a pool cage, a panoramic view on your patio, lanai, screen door, a.k.a. we always call it that in-between space, right, Fred?
I use that all the time. I got to write you a check someday for that one.
That's okay. That's all good, man. Well, hey, thanks for calling in, buddy. We appreciate it, and be good out there.
You too. My pleasure. See you soon. Bye.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk more about a hot topic right now. This immigration is such a hot topic. I wanted to get Ahmad back in here. American Dream Law Office attorney, Ahmad Yakzan, that is. He's the founder and CEO, American Dream Law Office. We're going to talk with him after this quick break. And also, follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at BrandonRimes1, at CQB Show. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Rumble channel out there, Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, Brandon Rimes here for AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. My wife and I shifted a lot of our buying habits, and we wanted to support companies that support our values, patriotic, Christian, conservative companies. And you can find that online at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. Now, what you're doing is you're not spending any new money. You're simply buying a lot of the common purchases that you're buying every month for the kitchen, the bathroom, your shampoos, your laundry detergent, all types of great essential oils, vitamins, herbs, those types of products. And for you beef lovers, we have great beef products as well. Tenderloin, sirloin steaks, grass-fed beef available as well. So check out AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. And I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions about it. There's also a business opportunity there for you as well. 813-917-1894. And thank you so much for supporting our company, AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com.
Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right. Hey, follow us online, everybody. We'd love to connect with you. We've got attorney Ahmad Yakzan in studio with us. Now, he's the founder and lead attorney at American Dream Law Office. We're going to talk immigration law here in just a moment. Before we do, we always feature our real estate listings live on air. It's part of our strategy that helps our sellers sell faster for more money. 1120 Driggers Road. This one's in Lakeland, Florida. Build your dream home. This is 2.4 acres, vacant land, tucked away on a quiet, dead-end road. You already have an electric meter in place and electric on the property. So country charm of North Lakeland, 1120 Driggers Road, Lakeland, Florida. Beautiful property, just moments away from shopping, dining, top-rated schools, and other conveniences. And, of course, you're close to the major highways, I-4 and some of those other thoroughfares. 1120 Driggers Road, Lakeland. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Ahmad, welcome back in. Thanks for coming in, sir.
Thanks so much for having me, Brandon. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's been a while, and I wanted to get you back in because it's so relevant right now. I mean, you see what's going on, with the the illegal aliens in the country, and then so we wanted to have a conversation around legal immigration, and of course, we saw our fair share of illegal immigration. So when we spoke on the phone, kind of our pre-show interview, you had mentioned your phones are kind of ringing off the hook right now, are they?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, man. It's been people are scared, rightly so, and we've been the number of calls. I mean, I got pretty much double the intakes on my website this month. From January 1st until right now, my leads doubled since December and November.
Yeah,
and the phone traffic is absolutely fantastic. So we're getting those phone calls. So people are scared, rightly so. But the best thing you can do right now is hire a fighter on your side to an immigration court.
Yeah,
and if you want to hire a fighter on your side, call the American Dream Law Office. That's what I'm known for.
Yeah. So what are these cases look like, or can you give us like a recent success story, or hey, here's a scenario, Brandon. Here's what we typically see play out.
So the issue is that there are a lot of misconception about immigration law, and the United States doesn't have a long-term strategy for immigration, which we can talk about in a little bit. Most of the people that are getting removed that are people from countries with prior removal orders. For example, what I'm seeing is a lot of Cuban immigrants that came in the 1960s, 1970s. You had the Cuban Adjustment Act at the time. If they came in and stepped foot in the United States, they can get permanent residence right away. You have that law. The law changed under President Obama. But a lot of people actually made mistakes in their 20s and 30s that are catching up to them right now, because when they used to put you in removal proceedings as a Cuban, because you had that law, they were never going to deport you, for example, because even though you had a removal order, they were never going to execute it. But Cuba is starting to take Cubans back.
Okay.
So right now, if you're Cuban with a removal order, especially when it comes to an old drug conviction or a marijuana conviction, there's changes on the law that will actually help you stay in the country. So going to immigration court on your own is going to become much harder, and you're going to need an advocate on your side.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can imagine, having to going to represent yourself in a manner of this magnitude, and I would think, you can get some pretty bad scenarios that play out trying to represent yourself.
Yes, I mean, one of my success stories recently is for a Cuban gentleman who was caught with 400 pounds of marijuana in the 1980s, and we were able to reopen and close the case, so he wouldn't have any removal order against him anymore.
Wow!
So now he can stay in the country with his family. He's been here for over 50 years now in the United States. Wow. So I do these cases every single day, but things are going to get much harder because prosecutorial discretion is almost gone under the new administration. So you're gonna need fighter on your side of removal proceeding.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw unprecedented numbers, and we know that we had this open border, and it's like President Trump said, a lot of times in many cases, it was the worst of some of these countries. Venezuela is one that's been in the news a lot. Some of these different countries sending over.
Brandon, I'm going to disagree a little bit.
Please do.
Over the last 40 years, I've seen some of the most brilliant, successful people come from South America. Now, we've seen people. We've seen people who are otherwise. I promise.
Of course,
we've seen people who are, but the problem is if you're interdicted on the border with a criminal background, you're deported right away. Like there's gonna be the success rate defending those, even on an asylum case down in El Paso, for example, the El Paso Immigration Court is about 2% success rate. So if you get caught, you're gonna get deported. The problem that we had over the last 4 years, and I would tell you, the numbers were the same from the previous 4 years when President Trump was in his first term.
Mm-hmm.
But what we had is a non-enforcement of what I call the credible fear interview, which what I mean by that is, and we saw that from beginning when people trying to come to the United States.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get asylum in the United States and come into the United States border and surrendering yourself to CBP and saying my boyfriend is working with the cartel and they're gonna kill me.
Right.
It's not gonna get you asylum. So
wait, so that would not get you asylum?
No, because it's
Okay.
a private actor. It's
Okay.
a private actor. So there are things that I saw over the last 4 years. I'm like, how the heck did you get come to the country? Because the problem is the credible fear. They were giving a lot of people credible fear that didn't qualify for asylum. I'm being very honest with you,
Well,
and I'm
yeah.
an attorney, and I would tell you that and I usually don't take those cases. I want the big cases that I get the defense in court, legitimate cases.
Yeah.
But that's what you had. A lot of the entries had that thing.
Uh-huh.
So we had a law last year that had let's change that credible fear requirement and make it more stringent. And unfortunately, because of the political winds at the time, it got defeated in the Senate. But it was probably the best immigration law we would have gotten in the last 50, 60 years.
Interesting.
But that's what we need to be working on is bringing the right people to the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just bringing the wrong people.
Yeah, my parents or my grandparents were immigrants. I mean, so many people listening, their parents were immigrants at some level, but they did it right. They got in line and they stayed and they did it the right way, right?
But the line is very long.
It is long.
Look at a brother of a Mexican person right now who's a U.S. citizen. It's taken 30 years for them to come to the United States or the Philippines.
Yeah, it's tough. There's no doubt it's backed up.
Yeah.
Somebody told me the immigration courts are just backed up like a number of years, right?
They're setting last year in December they were setting in 27.
Wow, 2027, that far out. I wish we had more time because this is such a hot topic. It's such an interesting topic. But take the final 15 seconds or so and tell us about where people can connect and how they.
We're all over the internet. 888-96-DREAM. 888-963-7326 is the number, or americandream.law. You'll be able to get with us 24/7. We're open 24/7 to answer your queries. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Yeah,
thank you, Brandon.
So much to talk about there, but that's such a hot topic right now. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate
You're welcome.
that.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right, Duane Bishoff, Fred Muth, and Ahmad Yakzan. American Dream Law Office. Thank you so much. Another great show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.